This week on the StressLess Camping podcast, I welcome back my buddy Michael. And Michael has worked around law enforcement and in private security. And we had a great idea from Ron and Wendy about keeping your home safe when you're on the road. So that's what we're going to talk about this week. In fact, Michael watches over our place while we're gone.
I do.
So we're going to crack a beer.
Cheers.
Cheers. Of course, we have this week's podcast along with the notes, resources, and everything else at our home on the web at stresslesscamping.com. And I get a lot of crazy press releases and such. And we got a press release on camping trends. And this camping trends article was interesting because it says, right? It said people are interested in forest bathing and overlanding. Okay, overlanding I get. But foraging and forest bathing.
Are they taking leaves and rubbing it all over their bodies?
I don't know, but anyway, we'll have a link to that. Although overlanding I get.
100%.
Because both of us are big overlanders. We both have pretty serious solar and lithium systems. And as you know, if you've listened to this podcast at all, we are big fans of the systems from ABC Upfitters, who provide reliable Mastervolt solar and lithium systems. In fact, last night I was sleeping in my camper, not because I said or did something dumb, but because Peggy's mom and sister were staying with us. So they're all off, which is how Michael volunteered to come and be my co-host this week. And everything as usual. I don't even think about that system. It just works great. Everything is just always the way it should be. So if you want a reliable solar and lithium system for your camper, perhaps consider giving ABC Upfitters a call at 574-333-3225. Well, let's stay safe.
All right.
By the way, today's beer is Belching Beaver Peanut Butter Milk Stout, and I even have my Belching Beaver t-shirt on. I don't know if I'm a fan of flavored beers per se, but by gosh, this is some good stuff.
This is actually really good. Have you given this to me before?
I think so.
I don't think so.
It's hard for me to find here in New Mexico, but we were in Southern California and I went to the liquor store and bought a bunch of it. So
It tastes like a peanut butter cup.
Yeah. Peanut butter milk stout. Good stuff.
Yes, please.
There's one more. Once I get the 6-packs, they don't stay very long.
Can't imagine.
Yeah. Well, so Ron and Wendy came up with this idea. They're like, how do you keep your house safe while you're gone? And so, well, one of the ways is Michael comes and visits.
This guy right here.
I can't promise that he will come and visit your house. Well, it depends, right?
I will.
Where you are and how much you got.
Yep.
But we're very fortunate in the friends that we have. And Michael swings by here and there, and we get notices that packages arrive. It's always, you order something and you're like, oh, it'll be here in 2 days. And then, but we have to leave in, 4 days. And a week later, the stinking package.
And you're like, what do I do?
I remember I let you know, hey, there's a package, and it was snowing, and you're like, well, it's just going to sit there.
I've lugged air conditioners into your garage.
Oh, yeah.
I've lugged, I think even your rec tech. No?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the smoker.
The smoker, yep.
Yeah, it's always the heaviest stuff shows up when we leave.
That's
I
fine.
don't plan
That's what
it.
friends are for.
Yeah, but I appreciate you.
100%.
Anyway, so a few things that we kind of made a list here, and we'll share that in our show notes. But one of those, Peggy wrote this: stop your newspaper service.
Who the heck has a newspaper service nowadays?
I don't know. But
I mean, if you're still reading the newspaper, I love the newspaper.
I do too, but
do you get up in your jammies and walk out with your coffee to get your newspaper?
I don't know. Maybe your Minion slippers and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hey.
But if you have a newspaper, stop it.
Stop it. That is a good point.
Yeah. Also, you can get a free account at the post office, USPS.gov, and you can actually get notified of what mail. You can see, what all mail's coming, but you can also turn your mail on and off. A lot of this depends on how much you're gone.
Yes.
So if you're gone a lot like we are, we try to get everything to go to a P.O. box. And we used to have that America's Mailbox mail service. That was good because they would scan they'd say, hey, look what's coming. And, most of it's junk. So it just
throw it away.
Just
But
recycle
you could
it.
have them open things too.
They'll
you?
open it, and if it's like a bill or something, they'll scan it and send it to you. Or if you're traveling, especially if you're a full-time RVer, if you're traveling, then they can overnight your mail to you.
The important stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we at our house, we do use the online service. So every morning I do get an email with pictures of what our upcoming mail is.
Yeah.
And it's very easy then to also put a pause or hold or whatever they call it on there.
Yeah, that's a great service, and it's free.
Yeah.
So
I've had my mailbox broken into before.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, not at our current house, but many years ago, and having that ability, just for your own mental well-being, knowing that your mail's not going to get stolen, but also knowing what's coming so you can be prepared for it.
Yeah, like taxes and
The
medical
stuff you
bill.
don't want.
Right.
The junk
you're
mail.
like, oh gosh, the junk mail, right?
Taxes, bank statements, junk mail.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what you get in the because you can, if you haven't done a lot of your important mail by electronics nowadays. Most bills and stuff you can have electronically delivered, and then you could just get that anywhere.
Correct.
So you dread opening your email in the morning and seeing how much you owe.
Yep. Well, that was going to be my next statement too, is convert whatever bills you get paper-wise, go paperless. And then you can just pay them online.
Well, and I was listening to a podcast about safety and security, and apparently post office boxes, mailboxes, like corner mailboxes, are getting broken into left and right. So mail isn't really all that secure anymore.
It's not. Our mailbox is directly across from our house.
Oh, that's right.
So it's very convenient. But those boxes are just very thin metal, and just a pry bar is going to pop them right open. So
Yep.
So even when we're home, I check my mail every single day. And if we're going to drop something in the mail, like a card to a nephew or whatever that might have some money in it, we wait until that morning to drop it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That way it doesn't get broken into overnight, and then the thief steals that.
And apparently there's a lot of check washing going on too, where like if you mail someone a check, it's not uncommon that they take the check, your signature's already on it, they could change the payee and the amount, and now all of a sudden you're like, I didn't write a $2,000 check to the Apple store.
You write checks?
No.
Okay.
But I'm just saying that's something that's common. Yeah, I write checks for my newspaper subscription. Oh, man.
But I think the biggest, most important thing is safety and security wise is actually protecting your home itself.
Right, absolutely.
And that's most important to me. So having a good surveillance camera set up. Of course, there's the things like the water and gas and, utility wise, that's more for safety of the house, protecting the house from damage, but protecting it from criminals, protecting it from any unwanted people. A good security system is very important. And you guys have a very good security system here.
Yeah. Well, one of the aspects of that is we have cameras, and a lot of these cameras you buy are hardwired, and then if the power goes out, you have nothing.
Yeah.
So among the cameras we have are a number of solar powered battery operated cameras. So even if we come from Northern California where they would shut off the power, so we bought these at the resort even, and if the power goes off, they're still working. And the ones that we have, I'll put a link in the show notes, have a little chip in them, so they record on the camera, and they also will transmit someone's at the door or whatever.
Yeah.
And you can actually speak with whoever's there. We've done that more than once.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, just having a good surveillance camera set up is important. But if power goes out, you're kind of SOL. So having solar powered cameras, stuff like that's very important. Granted, cameras don't stop people.
No.
It might persuade them to avoid your house, or they might just rip the camera down, or they might just cover up their face and think they're
So
gonna outsmart you.
after we sold the resort, someone stole one of the cameras.
Did they install it at their house, and could you watch it? How great would that have been?
I know, right? Hey, I see you. That would have been funny.
That would have been funny.
But I also, we turn off our water. Well, we turn off our water in our trailer when we go away from the campsite, but we also shut the water off here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just good to know how to shut off your water because, if you're gone and there's a leak, it could destroy your house.
Yep.
So,
especially if the hot water heater gives out or...
Which is not uncommon.
No.
So
Depending on where your hot water heater is, you might need to consider, putting, while you're gone or even while you're home, one of those sensors that detects, moisture.
We have those not only in the where the water heater is, but also all over the trailer.
Yes.
Those things are, and of course it always happens at like 3 a.m. It's like, oh man, the water sensor's going off.
Just like a smoke alarm.
Yep.
Starts chirping at 3
I
o'clock in
think
the morning.
somewhere there's a conspiracy of we're gonna have these things go off in the middle of the night.
Their lifespan runs out in the middle of the night.
Yeah, it's planned.
Yes. Another thing that we utilize, and not everybody can, depending on your house, where you live. I mean, Tony and Peggy, where you live, you don't have neighbors.
Nope, on purpose.
And that's a great thing. It does give me a little bit of cause of fear. That's why I check on your house so much.
And we really appreciate it.
But communicating with your neighbors, even if you aren't best friends, but create that rapport with them. We have a rapport with our neighbors. We don't talk all the time. We don't see each other all the time, but we also understand we want to keep each other safe. And when we travel, I reach out to them, let them know, hey, we're going to be gone. These are the people that are allowed or not allowed to be here. If you see them, let us know. And they're very good at communicating with us. And also, like at our house, because we have a side gate where we park our rig, when we leave, I always like to keep that gate blocked because I don't want anybody to be able to access our backyard. But the biggest thing is just communicate with your neighbors. If you have multiple cars, maybe move them to put them in a more protective location if you do have gates or if you have equipment in your backyard you don't want stolen.
Like tractors.
When we had our tractor in the backyard and we would leave, I would always park one of our vehicles in front of the gate because somebody could just break open the gate and drive off with our tractor.
I know, you blocked me.
Yeah, I did block you. Because I didn't trust you.
Well, for good cause.
There we go.
I love driving your tractor.
But also, beyond communicating with your neighbors, we have now with so many automations of your home, you can create, timers for lights. You can control them via the Wi-Fi. You guys are always blasting Jimmy Buffett while you guys were gone.
It's actually living the RV dream.
Okay.
On the old podcast, I have the whole collection. John and Kathy are keeping the house company while we're gone.
When I come by to drop off your mail or to collect your packages, sometimes I just sit and listen.
Hey, all right.
But having music turn on, turn off throughout the day, lights, like in Home Alone, the movie.
Yep.
Kevin McAllister did a great job making it look like people were in his home.
You need those cardboard cutouts like spinning around or get one of those things like outside the car dealership.
You might get the police called on you because they look kind of wacky. Look like there might be a fight inside.
Yeah, right. But I never thought of that.
But it's just stuff like that. Automate your home if you're able to. It's cheap. Our plugs for some of our lights I can control them with our voice, or I can control them with our app. And we have them set on to turn off and to turn on at certain times of the day. And that just creates the illusion, hopefully, if people are watching your home, that there's still activity there.
Yeah.
And it's also not bad to have people go by and, you know, check the mail if you have a regular mailbox, or, you know, if you do have plants that need watering, you know, to help with that, because it shows movement at the house. So you're less likely to be a victim.
Don't let all your plants die out in front.
Correct.
Or whatever. I mean, of course, there are no plants here to die, but, you know, have things watered, or, you know, it's so easy to automate stuff nowadays.
Really is. It really is. The automation for homes is incredible.
Yeah, and it can even be semi-random, so that it does look like there's someone home.
Yep, exactly.
Another thing I like, you know, back to the battery-powered, solar-powered stuff, we also have a lot of battery, solar-powered motion sensing lights. And those are neat. Again, if someone cuts the power to the house, or there's no power in the neighborhood, they still work. And the new ones are really bright and really good. So
we had a neighbor a couple of years ago. His kept turning on. He was 2 doors down from us. But when we were in our backyard, I think you guys were actually there a couple times, it would activate. And he had his voice to where it said, whatever it would say, "You're in my backyard, get out," or whatever it was. And I had to tell him, I love the guy, but I had to tell him, correct it, because it's being triggered from 2 doors away.
And, well, that's Brian and Patrick, too. When you walk
Yes.
up on their house, it says,
"You are being recorded."
Yes.
and which is kind of cool.
It puts them on alert. And that's the one thing a criminal doesn't want is attention.
Right. They're always looking for the easiest target, as it were.
And most burglaries are likely going to happen during the day, not at night. So that's because people are less likely to be home during the day. They're more likely to be home at night. So if you can create some sort of, you know, appearance that people are coming and going, that way if you do get your newspaper delivered and you don't stop it, have somebody pick up your newspaper, because if you see a pile of 10 newspapers in your driveway,
obviously someone's not
and
there to
somebody's
collect
casing, you know, they have an inclination that you're not home.
Yep. Yeah, and other things, look for things out of place. Make sure there's no, you know, those guys who come by would put the flyers on your doorknob. That's another good thing about having a friend come by, is you can take that junk off the door. Things like that. So these are good tips, and boy, really appreciate the suggestion. Of course, if you have a suggestion for us for something to cover, please don't hesitate. We're always looking for a great topic, and this certainly was one. And I was very fortunate that Michael was able to come and join me, but also that Peggy left me unsupervised for a whole week. So
I'm also Tony's babysitter.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So there you go. And how do we start? By opening a Belching Beaver peanut butter milk stout.
Yes,
So,
cheers.
Cheers. We have a destination too, and while what was it, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever, Peggy and I went back, but you and I and your wife and of course Peggy all went to Verde Valley.
Verde Ranch.
Verde Ranch.
Yes.
It's nice there. It is. That campground is pretty fancy. They have, all of the buildings are new. It's really well kept.
The prices are very accommodating for a budget. I mean, they're not $35 a night prices.
No, but
with a year-round hot tub, year-round pool.
and they have all these games too,
Yep.
like pool and foosball and Jenga, and they have really nice shower houses and such.
Yes. And they do group activities too. You know, when we were there in January of 24 and March of 24. They had night sky, you know,
that's
stuff.
right.
They had food trucks. They're always doing something.
And it's also close to Jerome, which is a lot of fun.
It is.
We met up with Scott and Alicia there, and they're like, "Hey, have you ever been to Haunted Hamburger?" And I'm used to that barbecue place because, you know, who doesn't like barbecue? And so I'm like, hamburger place. All right, we'll go. Oh my gosh, it was so good.
What did you get?
I got meatloaf. I know. But Scott,
burger joint and you got meatloaf.
But Scott got their hamburger, and I have this great picture I have to share with you of Scott eating that hamburger. It was just pure joy.
Yeah.
And then Alicia got a Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
And it had like an egg and
saw the picture
bacon,
of it.
and it was. And then at the end, we're all full. From the service was fantastic. The food was fantastic. It was clearly this place is very well run. And at the end, the server comes up and she says, "Hey, do you guys want dessert?" Of course, we're like, "Oh God, none of us could eat dessert." And I don't want to be uninformed.
Room right over here for dessert.
Well, especially chocolate peanut butter pie.
Okay.
Oh, it was the best chocolate peanut butter pie I have ever eaten.
Yeah.
It was so good. And so we had that. And the views from Jerome are beautiful. And
they really are.
And then you could also go to Sedona from there. Oh, and we went to Tootsie Goots with you guys.
Tootsie Goot, yeah. No, we did Montezuma's Castle.
Oh, that's right.
But Tootsie Goot's pretty cool too. I mean, it's 30 minutes, maybe an hour.
Yeah, so it's a neat place to go, and a lot of, you know, you can stay at the campground and everything is there, or you can go and there's so many.
There's so much to do there with Jerome, with Cottonwood. Cottonwood, I think, is one of our favorite little communities right around there. Really good Italian joint there with pesto deviled eggs.
Oh man,
with bacon on top.
Oh
yes, but we love Jerome. I mean, it's cute. It's gonna get yourself a calf workout.
Yeah,
going through there because it's so
everything's
hilly,
on the hillside,
on the side of a hill. Yeah.
Something I liked at there's, you know, as a lot of these old communities, it came out of a mine, and it was a copper mine, and there's a place you can go and stand on like this piece of glass and look down. I think you look down like 1,200 feet. It's insane. Can you imagine like being the people getting lowered into those mines? And there's a house you can tour that's a museum now, and they have all this old cool stuff that they had when it was active. So including central vacuum.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm glad to be living now and not back then.
Yes, me too.
Yes, yeah. 100%.
Plus, we're still alive.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, so that's a plus.
That's always a good thing. Yes.
Well, cool. Well, I guess our next thing is a gadget. And Michael will attest to this because we've gone camping a bunch of times. My thing is, at night when it gets cold and the campfire comes on, I don't like that my front is hot and my back is not, right? And so
turn around.
Put me on a spit.
Yes, there you go.
Spin me round and round.
And then just start shaving off parts of you and
But I got a solution. I don't know, was it a couple months ago? Peggy got a jacket from a company called Venustas. And I liked it, but I didn't get one because I made the mistake of thinking they were all down jackets and I'm allergic and that would not be fun.
Okay.
But then they reached out and they're like, no, we have plenty of choices. And I looked on their website and I saw this jacket that was like, oh, I gotta get this. And it's called a 3-in-1. So what it is it's like a fleece jacket that's heated.
Here, I'll be Vanna White.
All right. It's a fleece jacket. And then there's a rain jacket that goes over it, and it uses a battery pack, and they claim, I believe, up to 8 hours of warmth on the heated jacket. And then there's also a USB port that you can charge like a phone or something.
Okay, so it's like a power bank for a phone and to warm your booty.
Yeah. Well, actually, no, it doesn't get that low. Yeah, it warms your back. But I will now actually participate in campfires because I miss the fellowship, but
Stressless campers, you heard it all here.
Yeah.
He's not bouncing on a
Right, I'm
campfire
not going to
because it
do
gets a
that.
little
What
cold.
is it called? The Irish goodbye, where he's just like, all of a sudden it's like, hey, where'd Tony go?
It's happened many times.
Many
We're having a
times.
good time. We look around and
No Tony.
no Tony. Or we see his rear end headed towards the rig.
So anyway, this is going to be I always have a jacket or two in the truck, one for rain and one for warmth. And now I have
We got
this
warmth.
whole thing. The fleece could go inside the rain jacket, and there are buttons that hold it. I think the quality of these things is really good. So
Looks good.
I'll put a link in the show notes. We also have a discount to Venustas. So yeah, I took advantage of our own discount.
Yeah. I might even consider getting one because having that little extra bit of warmth, because we do a lot of hiking.
Yes, you
Mickey
do.
and I do. And having a little bit of extra warmth that you can control while you're hiking, because we prefer to hike when it's cold.
Right. Yeah, you could start out in the morning with the heat and then step the heat down, because I believe there are 3 levels of heat.
Yeah.
And so you can step the heat down and then eventually a little more heat.
Very cool.
Well, earlier we cited that report that said, some of you are out there foraging and bathing in the forest. We have a trailer that might be good for that. It's the Flagstaff ePro E12 SA. It's a teardrop, but it's a square teardrop. So the back has like a big hatchback that flips up, and there's a little kitchen back there with a flat top griddle. This thing had heat and air conditioning, which you don't usually see in a teardrop. It was really well made. And if you've been following our RV reviews for a while, we do that RV report card. And most RVs don't get above a 4 out of 5, right? This thing, after looking at the numbers, it was 4.5 out of 5. I don't remember an RV getting that high a score before. But it's inside the sleeping area. Teardrop is like, it's a bed and a kitchen, and the kitchen's outdoors. So the outdoors kitchen, there's a hatchback that flips up, so you're kind of protected from the elements that way. And it actually has an awning too, so you get decent protection.
Okay.
You're still outside.
Yeah.
The inside, the sleeping part has like a gaucho, which is like a folding couch. That's the bed. But at least you have a place to sit.
Yeah.
And there's some cabinets. This does have an outside shower with hot and cold water. So if you're not bathing in the streams, you can take showers outside.
Forage bathing, was
Yeah,
it?
foraging and bathe and stream. I don't remember what they said, but yeah. So, but I was really impressed. I like that there's brakes on the wheels, so instead of
That's
needing
nice.
wheel chocks, it just has little brakes that lock. A neat thing, we have a full review at StressLessCamping.com, so if that's your thing and you want something small, this is probably one of the best teardrop style trailers I've seen.
You know what? For me, if it gets me off the ground, that's where I'm happy.
Yeah, and you have a couch, so if it's raining, you could sit in the couch. So, yeah.
I can deal with the flip up outdoor kitchen, but I need to be off the ground when I'm sleeping.
Yeah,
I'm done with regular camping.
Yeah, tent camping.
Tent camping. Did it, been there, grew up doing it. But as an adult, I like my conveniences, and that's a bed, and that's an enclosure.
Yeah. Now, one thing this did not have was a potty, but when we went tent camping,
The world is our toilet.
it
Tony.
is, but not our wives.
That is true.
So, but when we went tent camping, we brought that portable toilet and the toilet tent.
Yeah.
And you could use that for the shower too, and you're all set.
It
So,
works. And
I mean,
that's good for the overlanding type stuff.
yeah, and it had the suspension gave a lot of ground clearance and such. So neat little trailer. It fits right in with that survey.
Yeah. Yeah. Those ePros are, all of those ePros are neat little rigs anyways.
Yeah, it came with 200 watts of solar and an 1800 watt inverter.
That's
Pretty much, and I think the MSRP was around 20,000, 22. I don't know. It's there at StressLessCamping.com.
That's not bad at all.
No, it really was. I was amazed with the build quality and what you got for the money.
Cool.
Well, last of all, we have our question of the week, and we ask you what exciting plans you have for your 2025 Stressless Camping adventures at our fun and friendly Stressless Campers Facebook group. You guys knocked it out of the park. There's a great number of answers. Go there and check it out. But this week we have a fun one for you. What's the quirkiest thing you've seen in your adventures? Bonus, well, besides me.
Oh, sorry.
Bonus if you have photos. And I will post a photo. Gosh, we've seen so many weird things, but there's one I have in mind. We'll post that with it. Diupers Tourist Trap. It was literally called Diupers Tourist Trap.
Is it up there with like Uranus and the Wall?
Oh yeah,
Or
but
worse?
Uranus is almost tame compared to Diupers. You could go in an outhouse and have your head pop out the toilet.
All right. Trying to think. Uranus, head pop out of toilet. I mean,
There's a running
kind
theme
of go together there.
There's a theme here. Oh man, that's probably why we're the butt of so many jokes.
No pun intended.
Well, you can answer that question and ask your own questions at our Fun and Friendly Stressless Campers Facebook group. Don't forget, at our website, you'll find discounts, deals. Oh, I totally redid the discounts and deals section. There's some new stuff there. We have polished up and tightened up a lot of stuff. We now have discounts on portable power stations and a bunch of other stuff. So check it out, stresslesscamping.com. You'll find notes for this episode, including that survey. Of course, you can find us in all the social places, and we appreciate your comments, your likes, your subscribes, all of that. Thank you so much for being here again this week. We are closing in on our 300th episode. We have plans. In fact, if you're going to be at the FMCA rally in Perry, Georgia in March, you can participate in our 300th episode.
Ooh.
I know, exciting stuff.
It's a long ways.
Well, with that, thank you so much for joining us, Michael. Always a pleasure to hang out
Happy
with
to be
you
here.
and have some beers. Most of all, stressless camping.